You have the right to remain silent, but I hope that you won't. Actually, I'm counting on you not to. You know, there's a lot of people in this country, most of them progressives, that don't want to hear what you and I have to say. They want to silence our free speech through political correctness. And you know what political correctness is? That's just silencing free speech in order to promote a political agenda. And we don't want to promote their political agenda, so we're going to keep our voices up and keep getting more and more people to these tea parties and other events where they can learn how to fight for their country. Another way they try to mute our voices is marginalizing us, calling us names like racists and bigots, and saying we're all just Republicans. And so what we have to say just doesn't matter. What we have to say does matter, because this country belongs to us, not the corrupt politicians in D.C. Every time I have something important to say, a phone starts ringing somewhere. Congresswoman? Sheila Jackson Lee? Can you hear me now? I don't like that health care bill, Congresswoman. I'm a cancer survivor, and I don't like your bill. I think she heard me. The policies over the last year out of D.C. have been cloaked in, well, even longer than that, but have been cloaked in words that sound patriotic, like, well, for one, the Patriot Act, but also, how about the budget that increased taxes by $670 billion, and it's misnamed or it was labeled a new era in fiscal responsibility. Yeah, my foot. Okay. I think it's about time that D.C. lives on a budget like you and I do. And one way that Texas can help them do that is to stop giving the money directly from our paychecks to D.C., but instead have it go to the state comptroller's office. That way, next time we have an emergency in Texas, or our neighbor has an emergency in Louisiana and we have refugees come here, we can say, sorry, we had an emergency, D.C., and we had to take care of Texas first. Thank you very much. The health care legislation that just passed is misnamed Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act. Now, I don't know how kicking somebody when they're down and they can't afford $750 penalty for not buying adequate health care is affordable. And I don't know how getting D.C. politicians and bureaucrats in between me and my doctor and our medical decisions is protecting patients. I think we ought to call it what it really is. Malpractice, and it's practicing medicine without a license. They all ought to be thrown in jail. We need D.C. to repeal this legislation, but I don't know if that's going to happen, but that's what we need to push for. I'd rather drink poison than swallow this unconstitutional pile of big spending and bureaucracy. Can't the government just stay out of our business? And if they won't repeal it in D.C., we need it nullified in Texas. We need the Texas legislature to nullify the health care bill. And a whole lot of other unholy unions with the federal government. Cap and trade is a huge tax on energy. It's going to tax every American household out the wazoo. We can't afford it. People are going to lose jobs, but it's masked in free market language. The word trade, to make it sound like it's something that's actually capitalistic. Come on. Parts of this bill that couldn't get through the Senate now are going to go through the EPA, one of the tentacles of big government, bureaucracy. We need to kick all these tentacles out of our state. But the arrogant regime that's in there now has no regard for checks and balances or the Constitution. How about net neutrality? I'm sorry, internet neutrality. Has free speech ever been neutral? No. That didn't pass the House or the Senate, and it was shot down in court. But now the regime is going to have the FCC rewrite the telecommunication laws. So that's why we have to get rid of all these tentacles of big government that are squeezing liberty out of our country. Another misnomer is the Employee Free Choice Act. All this is coercion to get people into unions. But it's called free choice. They don't have a choice. A director will implement this through the new appointment to the National Labor Board by Obama, will implement this policy without the approval of Congress, and he's already said he's going to do that. That's why we have to be careful. And we have to get these unholy unions out of the state of Texas. But Congress has been derelict in its duty. It did not reverse powers being served up on a silver platter to the executive, and it should have, and it's been going on for over 70 years. Now we need Congress in our state to both do their jobs and restore the checks and balances and restore constitutional government. Republicans are going to have the gates swing wide open in November and probably in 2012. But our job as citizens is not over. We have to hold their feet to the fire and make sure that they represent us as a constitutional republic, and they follow the Constitution and do not disregard it. We have to make sure they hear us, and the eyes of Texas will be on them. This is our country. It does not belong to the corrupt politicians in D.C. All this arrogance out of Congress, the arrogance of Sheila Jackson Lee when she ignored me in that healthcare town hall meeting, she just exemplified what's been going on every day in the halls of Congress. They're not hearing our voice. But they're going to hear us now. Thank you for coming out tonight. America needs you.